All right, so much has happened. I want all of you, family, to have the same information because we have a difficult decision to make. Patrick, can you start the story off, please? I can't.
Oh, okay. Well, from what I've heard, there were these two goons in ski masks who muscled their way into Dakota's apartment. Da had opened the door, and it didn't look like they meant to kill him, but they put him out with a blow to the head. Then they shot Dakota in the shoulder. And they intended to finish him off.
Who and why?
We'll get to all that, Dee.
So like I was saying, they would have killed him, but first they decided to trash the place and make it look like a burglary. And somehow, during that, Dakota managed to escape, right, Mom?
That's right. He came to our place. I don't know how he managed it. He was fiercely bleeding and hardly able to stand up. But he was able to tell me about the gunman and about John being hurt. And before I could even get to a phone to call an ambulance or the police, I heard these thugs in our parlor.
I did this to you, Maeve.
Oh.
Delia, please don't blame yourself.
What does Delia have to do with anything anyway?
Anyway, I managed to get Dakota into the closet. And then I stepped out into the hall, and I was scared to death, but when I saw them headed for Owen's room, why, then I knew I had to do something. So I lured them somehow down to the kitchen, to the bar, through the kitchen.
How'd you do that?
Don't ask.
She diverted their attention by slamming the hall door, then she ran down the hall, down the stairs. They followed her. She went into the kitchen. She took a gallon of oil and dumped it all over the floor.
So that they fall on their faces,
Yeah,
did they?
Very satisfactory thud.
So then Ma goes into the bar. These guys follow her into the bar, right? But you were ready, huh? You had some, what, bottles? You had bowls and started tossing bottles and bowls at these guys. They didn't know what to do. They started shooting any which way at everything.
Yes, they'd be shooting at me if you and the police hadn't walked in that very minute. You see, Dakota had managed to get a phone call in to Francis and the police.
Well, what about Johnny?
Well, sometime during all of this, he had his heart attack.
Maeve, I don't think I can forgive myself. Maeve, do you think I'm a bad person?
Delia, this
because
is
if
not your
anything
fault.
happens to Johnny, I am going to throw myself on the third rail.
Will you stop this nonsense? How in the world could you possibly be at fault here? John has a heart condition. He's had it for a long time now. There's no explaining why or when it gives up.
Just say that you forgive me, please.
I forgive you. I don't know why I'm saying it, but I forgive you.
Well, I still don't understand who these gunmen are and why all this happened.
Well, we could thank Delia and Roger for opening our eyes to all that. Patrick, you remember the night that you and Conchetta were locked in that closet in your clinic?
Seems like only yesterday.
How could I forget?
Yeah, well, listen, Delia saw Dakota lock you guys in that closet. Now, Delia knew that you guys were going to go over to Meredith Drake for that meeting. Anyway, when she saw Dakota lock you guys in that closet, she figured, well, I mean, Dakota must have some kind of connection to Meredith Drake.
Yeah, well, for the purpose of getting Conchetta out of the way.
If he was working for them, why did they go gunning for him?
Yeah, because Delia and Roger prompted them. Anyway, Delia, you're the heroine in all this. Why don't you tell us the rest?
Really, it was nothing. Okay, I set fire to the rec center, and Dakota was distracted, and then I found out his contact in his address book. Really, it was a piece of cake. And Roger and I went over to see this guy, and we pretended that we were jewelry estate salespeople, and that Dakota was very, very valuable to us, and we would buy him from Meredith Drake, and we needed him to work for us full-time. But the guy said, oh, no, no, no. Dakota isn't on our payroll at all. And then we said, oh, no, Dakota has told us everything. So then they sent the goons over, and now Johnny is fighting for his life.
Well, if it wasn't for Delia, Dakota never would have confessed.
He confessed?
Yeah.
All right, now, so we have a problem here.
Well, Ma, I think this clears up the problem. Da is going to have to face the truth about Dakota.
No, it may clear up the problem knowing the truth for the rest of you, but it's not going to help John in his sense of guilt about Dakota. And he certainly isn't going to be very pleased about his son going off to jail. So, my feeling is, for John's sake, if there's some way for us to protect Dakota.
Anyway, what are you saying here, Ma? That we shouldn't put Dakota in jail? Is that what you're saying?
If there's some legal way to prevent that, yes, that's what I'm saying.
He is a liar and a crook. He should be living on bread and water for the rest of his life.
Absolutely. I understand what you're saying about Da. Ma, that's going too far.
Well, Frank, you've made deals with worse criminals.
Uh, well, all I can say is I'll try to work something out. I'll do the best that I can in the situation.
You're gonna let him go scot-free?
Delia, if you could have seen that boy with the life half drained out of him, confessing his guilt to me, you would realize he has paid a price already. Now, I can't make this decision alone, people, even with Frank's agreement. I want to know what everybody feels. Patrick, Conchetta, you're the ones that have suffered most from his manipulations. I want to know how you feel about this.
Thank you. Well, I, for one, would just like to see your family together. And I don't think there's any reason to pursue a personal, public investigation. If Dakota has learned something from this experience and he's changing his values, then I'm all for personal redemption.
Well, I mean, I've got to choose Da's health, his state of mind, over any kind of retribution. I say we keep it in the family.
Right. Thank you, dear. Well, anybody else have any feelings about this?
Yes, I have feelings about
Delia,
this.
we already know your point of view, please.
I'm with you, Maeve.
Thank you. John Reed?
There's nothing to say.
I'm with you. I just don't know how we're going to keep it from leaking to the press.
Well, what'd you say to Mark? Was it an attempted burglary?
Oh, yeah, it's a great idea.
All right. Then we're all agreed?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, Patrick, Francis, why don't you go tell Dakota our decision?
Okay. Patrick? Don, come on. Go with us.
Gladly.
Now, Jetta, would you accompany me to my husband's room?
Absolutely.
I know what comfort would be to you. I realize that Dakota was getting his just desserts, so I appreciate your generosity. I really do.
I just hope you don't mind my saying that you are my role model.
Dee, think of it this way. Johnny'll never trust Dakota again.
Johnny will never trust Dakota again. That isn't enough. No way is that enough.
Jergens Extra Dry is a therapeutic skin conditioning treatment that helps heal the roughest elbows, knees, and heels.
Smoothing out the rough spot. Jergens Extra Dry.
Hon will be late for work. Poor Barbara. She took a cold medicine for her stuffy nose, and now it's made her drowsy. If only she could go back and take Sudafed instead. You see, Sudafed starts to work in as quick as 22 minutes without drowsiness. So you don't get drowsy, you get relief. Hon will be late for work.
What took you so long?
Sudafed for fast relief without drowsiness.
When you feel the need to feed, you want to resist that need quick. But diet pills can't begin to suppress that urge to chew right away. Now there's something that helps you resist faster than diet pills. New Stay Trim Diet Gum, a safe, delicious appetite suppressant to help lose weight. Because Stay Trim's a gum, it starts to satisfy your urge to chew in seconds. And when you're dieting, every second counts. Chew New Stay Trim. It helps you resist faster than diet pills.
One perfect color. One perfect coral, only from Revlon.